Welcome back to Houston Life. Whether your relationship status is single or taken or just somewhere in between, like me, our next guest is a relationship and intimacy expert who offers advice to help you meet your relationship goals.
I'm not asking any questions.
Good.
By the way, our guest is also a friend of Houston Life, appearing as a regular guest, even guest co-host at times, Dr. Viviana Coles. She is back in Studio B to chat all about a free masterclass she is doing. It's so great to see you.
This is so fun.
And today we're really talking about keeping sparks alive, because this is something that sometimes, you'll meet a couple and they've been together 20 years and they're like, he can't keep his hands off me. We do it on the kitchen table 5 times a day. Oh, okay. Maybe that's not totally true.
Awkward.
But there is a way to reinvigorate that spark.
There definitely is. And I'm finally at a place where I'm like, you know what? I get this question so often. Let's turn it into something. Let's turn it into a master class that anyone can join online live on June 10th at 12:30 Central.
That is so nice.
For free.
To not gatekeep it, to say there's enough people with this problem. And when you say this one question, you're talking about the question of,
how do we keep the spark alive?
Okay, and you say a key component to that is pillow talk, okay?
It's pillow talk, but it's not the kind of pillow talk like we've heard of.
Okay.
It's what I used to call an underlying current of sensuality.
Oh.
And the couples that are doing the most, like what you were talking about over there, they're the ones that are able to tap into that current whenever they want. And the way to do that is to keep that pillow talk outside of the bedroom so that it doesn't feel like it's coming out of nowhere.
Okay.
So that initiation happens more freely. So that you don't feel like, wait, what are you doing? Why are you trying this right now?
Yeah,
like,
this is awkward.
Yeah, this is awkward. And it happens all the time. I'm going to have been married for 17 years. It's a long, it's a long time to kind of keep things sparked, but we do, and it's through pillow talk.
Okay, so let's back it up a bit, because let's say you've been married for 17, 20, 30 years, and maybe if the intimacy has faded, how do you begin to work it back in? Because like you were both just saying, if someone comes up to you and you're like, what are you doing? This is weird. We don't do this anymore.
Yes.
Baby steps?
Baby steps, and I'm going to teach you exactly what those steps should be at the masterclass. I know, I have to tease you. That's what I do. But I will tell you, one of the ways to not do that is to just always only go for it through initiation. If your partner feels like every single time you kiss them, you want more, and it's not going to be satisfying unless you go all the way, then guess what? They're going to stop leaning into that kiss, or they might not even want to initiate a kiss because they think, they're going to want more. And that happens all the time. At Houston Relationship Therapy, we're working with these issues all the time.
Okay, so when you say like pillow talk though, and you said it's not what you think, I mean, my favorite moments are lying down and just like being goofy with each other.
Yes, be goofy, be sexy, be silly, have fun with it, joke about it, playtime, sexual time, all that. It's all part of being a fun adult couple. And if you find that you're having trouble talking about it, or if you're having trouble even watching a show or a movie that might have a little bit of a sexy scene in it because it's awkward, that's a sign that something's maybe off. And I want you at this class to see if just pillow talk and more of the right kind will help.
If our guests are not familiar, by the way, Dr. Viviana Coles was one of our early guests in the early days of Houston Life 8 years ago. You are the founder of the National Sex Therapy Institute, author of the 4 Intimacy Styles, The Key to Lasting Physical Intimacy. You are married, you have 2 children. People know you from the program Married at First Sight. And I know when you started this work, Dr. Coles, you set out to help people, but have you been overwhelmed by the response that you've gotten from your fans?
Oh gosh, they're always so sweet. I have the nice, I'm sure y'all do too. Yes, it can be overwhelming, but the truth is, like, I love it. I love to be recognized for wanting to help people to reconnect. And that's usually what they're coming up to me to say is, oh my gosh, I take your advice, or I read your book, or I took your quiz online, or I saw you do this, or whatever. And it's just so nice. I can't complain. Having the book to be able to talk about it all the time, and people are really DMing me with real ways that the book has helped them. So that kind of talk I want all day.
Yeah, the book, the cover of the book is incredible. You look great. I'm glad the feedback is good. But as Derek is like listing these things off, this is a market on the internet where it feels like the Wild West, where like everyone's kind of trying to give advice. What is your advice on that? Like, you have to be careful who you take that advice from.
Well, I will say, having done this for over 20 years, that I'm always grateful when people are starting conversations, but there is a difference between just using your own experiences and saying, this worked for me, so go for it, and kind of putting it out there on the platform like, this is the way.
Yeah.
And that's where education, training, and of course licensure and credentials comes in, because we know how to deal with all that.
All of those things are very, very important.
The credentials.
You mentioned starting that conversation. Is that, you find with your clients, the feedback that you get, is that the most difficult part in general?
It is, because usually they don't even want to bring it up, because historically it turns into an argument. So when they come into the office and we're able to talk about these things and actually get from like A to maybe M, it's not usually A to Z in that first session, they're like, oh my gosh, this is, okay, we're really going to get somewhere with this. So for a lot of people who are maybe concerned about how do we even go there if it's so awkward, and are we going to fight or this and that, just come into a session, see what it's like. This is what I do. This is what we do. So yeah, just like I'm sure you're great in other areas, let us take the lead here and we can get you from A to Z.
Okay. So I love that you take the lead, but just overall, because we don't have a ton of time left, we will tell people about the masterclass that's coming up.
I'm not leaving.
But that's it. Good. Well, just overall, dating culture right now, any quick opinions on it?
Ooh, okay. If somebody is not willing to give you a month of just y'all working on things, talking, going out and doing all that, and they're just being really wishy-washy about it, move on. Go to somebody else.
Like that.
There's not enough time to just date and date and date and date and date.
Yeah.
And life is very, very short.
It is.
And lastly, for people who are comfortable living in their own sphere, living in their own ecosystem, what's your message to them? Why is intimacy important in a relationship?
It's very important because we are used to having a witness. We want a witness to our lives. So if that intimacy happens with a friend, with a relative, with a colleague, and I don't mean physical intimacy, but just that really being vulnerable and emotionally connecting with someone, that's wonderful. I don't think that being in a relationship is the way to do life. When it works out, it works out really well.
When it's good, it's good.
When it's good,
but when it's bad, it's bad.
And when it's bad, come and see me. I'll set you up.
She will. I believe you. Dr. Viviana Coles, thank you so much. We have a link to sign up for her free masterclass right now on our website. So all you have to do is look for the Scene on Houston Life section on HoustonLife.tv.
And mark your calendars, Monday, June 10th at 12:30 p.m. Again, this class is free. Dr. Viviana Coles, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
All right.